Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to see such a great crowd here to honor Oren. We're happy about the shelter, but this is also an opportunity to honor Oren and all the wonderful work he did on behalf of this community. We are here to unveil the latest upgrades to the Nanuet station and to honor Oren's legacy. Oren's family and friends are here with us today. His wife Elaine, his son Michael, his daughter-in-law Jennifer, his grandsons Charlie and Aaron, and many, many more. Welcome to this. Son Jeffrey is here also. Anybody else I should mention? Sister Karen. Oh my gosh, see, it just keeps going. His sister Karen, his son Jeffrey, and I'm just so thrilled that you could be here today. I'm also happy to welcome so many of our wonderful community partners, Rockland County Executive Ed Day, State Senator Elijah Reichlin-Melnick, Clarkstown Supervisor George Homan, MTA board members Randy Glucksman, Frank Borelli, Norman Brown, and Andrew Albert, and Lisa Daglian from the PCAC, as well as other membership from the PCAC. Welcome, all of you. This turnout is a testament to Oren's work as the vice chair of the Metro North Commuter Council and to the importance of this station. Nanuet is the Pascack Valley Line's busiest station in New York. A couple of years ago, I was just talking to Randy Glucksman. We had to connect with us here at the old shelter. It was February, it was cold, it was dark, and who was here for the entire time? Oren. Oren was here in the cold at the connect with us because that's how much he cared about the station, cared about the service, cared about the community. Having a modern, attractive, and clean facility is an important part of the Metro North customer experience, and I'm so happy to be able to deliver this to the people of Rockland County. I also want to call out and give a shout out to the entire project team, the third-party contractor who's a small business mentoring program contractor is Pleasant Contracting Corporation, the C&D PM, Margarita Calibataza and Mukesh Mehta, the CM, Rosellen Cupo and Andy Igo. Metro North Force Account was out here as well. The Force Account group from CNS installed the PA speaker and the CCTV cameras. The Structures group provided electrical services to the temporary shelter. Consultants from STV, the PM was Fanny Wool Almanzar, and the CM was Rima Albhari. The TDX project manager was Tom, I'm going to get the name wrong, I'm sorry, Tom Rodhall. TDX CM was Tina Campbell, the MTA contracts manager Carl Smith, and the designer of record was G.E. Ang and Associates. So let's have a round of applause for the fantastic project team. Thank you all very much. As you can see, the team has completely revitalized the platform shelter. It's fully ADA accessible. The other upgrades include the new benches with USB connections, heating, LED lights, the glass enclosed waiting area, security cameras, new signage, plus a kiosk that displays real-time information. There will also be a plaque inside to honor Oren, which we'll look at a little bit later. We have come a long way, a very long way, since the days when Oren had to MacGyver a timetable rack here to keep people informed. Oren's commitment to West of Hudson riders and his community was unwavering. I come to these things all the time. I have never seen a turnout like this. We have never had a turnout like this for an event like this, and this is all about Oren, so thank you. Dedicating the platform shelter to Oren's memory was requested by County Executive Day and the Commuter Council. It is the least that we can do to recognize his accomplishments and his many, many years of impassioned advocacy. Thank you all very much. Now I'm happy to turn it over to County Executive Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon. It's great to be here today. Very special day. Look, we all know public transportation is a vital element to any community, and economy is necessary for us to thrive. But today just steps to the plate a little harder, a little higher. It's just great to see. I'm pleased to be standing in front of this beautiful new waiting facility, all thanks to Metro North reinvesting cost savings from the canceled Pascack Valley trains to pay for this and other improvements that are here in Nanuet. We also look forward to continued collaboration with Metro North and New Jersey Transit to make sure that we have the best possible product for our riders. But there is one person we all know for a fact we would say these improvements are appreciated and appropriate. Oren Getz, he dedicated decades of his life to the advocacy on behalf of Rockland County communities. I counted on him many, many times when I wasn't quite sure which direction to take something. Oren was always there to give me the straight fact truth to make sure that we got the very best for people. He was a tireless advocate to improve rail service in Rockland County and was instrumental in pushing for express, off-peak, and weekend service. and he championed the passing sightings at projects that enables those services to occur. Having served most recently as the vice chair of the Metro North Railroad Commuter Council, we know that Oren uses intricate knowledge, and it was intricate, of all things rail, along with his convincing voice and winning personality, and he will be an advocate that will be sorely, sorely missed. We can't replace an Oren Getz. You just really, really can't. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank a couple of other people, our MTA representative, our new representative, Frank Borelli, along with Metro North Commuter Council Chair and MTA Board Member Randy Glucksman, who has advocated very strongly for the people of our community here. I also want to thank Kathy and her hard work and her staff. We had a lot of conversations to try to get good things done for the people of Rockland. It is a difficult situation to deal with the MTA in particular, but she has been a strong advocate for us here in Rockland County, and I'm proud to work with her. And as long as our region recovers, we have a lot of work to do. We have accomplished plenty, but we do have a lot further to go for the people of Rockland County, our commuters, and we will keep plugging away at that because our people here in Rockland do deserve it. So with that, Elaine and Oren's family, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad in some small way that we could do something to honor the heroics that your husband has done over the years for our commuters. But with that, I'm going to introduce Senator Elijah Brackland-Melnick. Elijah?
Thanks, Ed. Thanks so much to the MTA for making this such a meaningful moment as we dedicate this shelter to Oren's memory, and thank you to the family for being here. And this community is amazing to see so many people out here for Oren. I had an opportunity to talk to him so many times over the years, and every time he always had something different, something interesting to talk about, and somehow the conversation would always also come back to the MTA and what were we going to do to make Rockland the poster child for better MTA service. And that is that dedication that he brought with, as has been said, the winning personality. You certainly never left a conversation with Oren without a smile on your face. And so I am just so happy to be here as we remember him and remember the work that he put in over the years. And this really is a meaningful moment for Rockland to finally have a state-of-the-art shelter on the Nanuet line. We know that so often people in Rockland do feel like the stepchildren of the MTA region, and Oren made sure that we were always going to have an advocate there fighting for us to make sure that we get as much service as we possibly can for Rockland and all of these west of Hudson lines. So we miss Oren, but we are grateful for his service, we're grateful for his legacy, and grateful to the MTA for making this investment in Clarkstown and in Nanuet and in Rockland County.
Thanks so much, I'm Assemblyman Ken Zabrowski. What can I add to what my colleagues said? Other than there's so much untapped potential here for mass transit here in Rockland County on this side of the river. And I want to thank the MTA and I want to thank Metro North for these services. You know, for Rockland County commuters, if we improve the service, if we improve the convenience, they will utilize these services more and more. And I think that's what our goal is, and that's, of course, what Oren Getz's role was. When I think of Oren, I think of him popping into my office with an article, a piece of paper, an idea. He was one of those unsung heroes that really invigorated our advocacy for mass transit. And of course, today we're singing his song. So Oren, thank you so much for all you have done. And to his family, thanks for letting us borrow him in so many different ways. And he has left an indelible mark, and this is just one of them. So thanks so much.
Good morning. I'm Supervisor George Homan, and a lot has already been said, but I do want to thank the MTA for the improvements here. You know, right beyond the parking lot is, we're right in our TOD zone, where the town has actually approved a transit-oriented development zoning. I remember having lengthy conversations with Oren about that and how we really need to get our commuter network up to the task for all the new folks that are going to be coming here. And I want to thank Oren and his family for sharing Oren with us for all of his advocacy, because he's been an incredible advocate. I knew Oren for about 20 years. And when I think of him, I think of, you know, 4 different things. I think of faith was important to him, his family was important to him, his country was important to him, and his community. And when I think of those things, I mean, Oren was very heavily involved. I knew him through, I see Joel over here from the Jewish War Veterans and how important that was to Oren and how he really took a leadership role there. obviously with his family he was very proud of, and he always talked about trying to build for the future, for not just his family, but for all families. And his country, his service to our country in so many different ways, but particularly in the Army. And then finally to his community, I think you heard it from the Metro North president, who does a lot of these events, and take it for, her word on it. This is a huge event, a lot of people here. And they're here because of Oren, because of his advocacy. I can tell you personally, it'll be a great loss for our town, and a loss for me. Oren, as you heard from all the elected officials, whether it was a street light, a traffic light, issues with, whatever it might be, Oren was on it, and we're a better town for it. And I want to thank him for his dedicated service. And it's only fitting that he'll be forever commemorated here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kathy, and your staff, and everyone else who helped to make this ceremony possible. We're here today to mark the completion of the new Nanuet shelter and also to honor Oren Getz. Dedicating the shelter to the memory of Oren is an extremely fitting gesture for a man who made improving commuting from Rockland County a very important mission in his life. Although his arrival in Rockland County predated mine by only a few years, my work schedule at New York City Transit and the very limited train service we had 45 years ago prevented me from using it, but Oren always did. He was there to advocate for more trains with Metro North presidents and the senior management of New Jersey Transit, and those good relationships made this happen. We could not have had a better advocate than Oren Getz. I'd like to ask one of Oren's sons, Michael, to deliver some remarks about his dad.
Thank you all for coming today. I'd like to thank the PCAC, the Metro North Commuter Council, the MTA, Metro North, all the dignitaries that came here today who helped make all of this possible. And I'd like to extend a special thank you to Randy Glucksman, who is a friend, colleague, and fellow commuter of my father, a partner in arms in advocacy for rail in Rockland County and in west of Hudson service. It's safe to say that mass transportation was a passion of my father, especially railroad. He loved trains. He knew everything about them. He could endlessly regale you with stories and anecdotes about rail lines, equipment, services, and the history of almost every rail system in the world. You would be hard-pressed to test the limit of his knowledge in this area. I never caught it. I don't think anyone else ever has. And it certainly rubbed off on me. Wherever I travel in the world, I get around by rail whenever I can. I carry a Charlie card from Boston, an Oyster card from London, and most certainly a Metro card from New York. Riding the rails was an intrinsic part of who my father was. Since we first moved to Rockland in 1976, my father was a regular rider on the Pascack Valley line, starting right here in Nanuet on his commute. He would commute to Manhattan through Hoboken and then via the path to Midtown. It was his perspective that rail services for the residents of Rockland and Orange County was an important and fundamental component of the community. So he took it upon himself to advocate for the rail commuters of Rockland and most of the west of Hudson riders that were out there. As I mentioned before, Nanuet was his station, although for a brief period of time he did defect to Pearl River, but we won't talk about that. He worked tirelessly to ensure that Rockland riders had a voice with the operations of west of Hudson service. First with Conrail, and then later on with Metro North and New Jersey Transit. He was active in the advisory councils, and even took it upon himself to stock the timetables right here in this station, even though he was not an employee. Still to this day, you can find a supply of passenger information in our house, just in case my father noticed that the station racks were empty. He made sure that they were well supplied. He fought for better service to Rockland for both the Pascack Valley line right here and the main line in Suffern and beyond. The thing he was most proud of was to help bring the express service to the Pascack Valley line. When you think of all the commuters over the past 45 years who traveled through this and other Rockland and Orange County stations, the impact that my father had on their lives is significant, whether they knew it or not. And he never sought recognition for it. He believed that what he was doing was right and important. It was born from a true place in his heart, and is only fitting that we remember him this way and right here. This is his legacy. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much. Does anybody else from PCA want to speak? Andrew or Lisa, I know you made the trip up. You good? Okay. And Assemblymember, my apologies for not acknowledging you. You snuck in. It's good to see you. Okay.
We do have a member of the press here may have
Sure.
a question.
Absolutely.
WNBC Channel 4, that's Howard Preston.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you very much. Kathy, a question that I hope the family will forgive doesn't have anything immediately to do with the ceremony here today.
Yes.
But this line crosses into two states.
Yes.
New York and New Jersey.
Yes.
New Jersey Transit has lifted the mask mandate.
That's correct.
The MTA has not.
Correct.
So what kind of conundrum does that put your agency? And what are you telling your conductors? What are you telling your platform people? What are you telling your riders about the difference and why once you cross over the line, it's going to be a different mask environment, and here further north, it's not going to be?
So, this is obviously a confusing time, and a lot is happening. A lot has happened over the last couple of days with respect to this mask mandate issue. As you know, New York is both the MTA services and PATH, still are requiring the mask mandate because of the, sort of this little Omicron bump that we're experiencing right now. New Jersey Transit has gone in a different direction. I mean, these trains are actually operated by New Jersey Transit crews, so there is mask optional. It's mask optional on these trains, I think. Listen, I mean, this is a strange time for all of us. New Yorkers know how to keep each other safe, and we are confident that as this settles out, now I understand this morning DOJ is appealing the Florida court's decision, and during this kind of transitional time, we trust that our riders are going to keep each other safe. We tell our employees to do the best they can, and to have faith that the customers will do what they need to do to keep each other safe.
I'd like to ask one follow-up that has nothing to do with masks, but does involve west of Hudson service.
Sure.
So, Stewart Airport continues to go begging for passengers.
Mm-hmm.
There are only 2 commercial airlines still operating there, passenger service.
Mm-hmm.
What conversations are you having ongoing between the Port Authority and the MTA about extending a spur somewhere off the Port Jervis line that will get to Stewart Airport and get traffic moving both west of Hudson, but most especially between New York City and Stewart Airport?
Yeah, I mean, this has been an issue that's been out there for some years, as you know, and the most recent the most recent conversations that I have been part of on this topic have essentially involved sort of preserving the corridor, right, to be able to allow for future development at some later point if there should be funding available for that. So that's still where we're at with that, but this has obviously been an issue for Orange County for some time.
And can I pose one question to George, since he mentioned the TOD? George, can you update a little bit about where the TOD stands and what you're going to be using this station for as an anchor, and what's coming and what the timetable for that is?
Sure. So the town of Clarkstown, I think we're the second community in Rockland to pass a TOD. There's a small one up in Suffern. So it was passed about a little over 2 years ago. There's the Cohen family owns the property across there from the parking lot and across the street. They are in with plans before the town for 250 units. That'll be the start. It's up to 500 units initially. Coming up before the town board meeting, I think in June, we're going to have a slight expansion of the TOD that was originally contemplated and evaluated with our seeker, which will actually push it into the Nanuet Mall South. Ultimately, we're looking for connectivity through the Nanuet Mall. There's going to be some additional upgrades over here with the town and some of the town streets, and we would love to see more of an investment from the MTA, given that there's going to be thousands of new units potentially within Rockland, but certainly right here, 500 to start, and potentially could go up to another 500.
Thanks everybody. So we're going to do an unveiling now, and we would only ask if you could either be on the outside of the glass structure, the outside and watch, or on that side. And the reason is we want to be able to see the family with the cameras that we're feeding to the news. Okay, so that side or anywhere on the outside. Thanks everybody, appreciate that.
Sorry about that.
No, no, no. Okay, so why don't we unveil on the count of 3? If you just want to pull up on the blue, 1, 2, 3. There we go. So just to read for those who can't see, it says shelter dedicated in memory of Oren Getz, Vice Chair, Metro North Railroad Commuter Council, April 21st, 2022. This is a replica of the plaque that is being fabricated now that we hope will be ready by next week and will be installed in its place. So thank you very much to Oren's family for being part of this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.